Through knowledge, we can understand. Through understanding, we can alter our experience. Through experience, we gain wisdom. And through wisdom, each of us can help change the world. This is Skull Babylon, and you're about to listen to episode 102 of Paradigm Shift Radio, which was another awesome opportunity for us as a conscious community to practice passing on our knowledge. On this Share What You Know show, we are joined by numerous community members, including our good friend Paul from the UK, who shares his knowledge of Taoist philosophy and the themes of balance it promotes within our life. Additional community members added to the conversation, including Isda Love, who brought some attention back to understanding our ability to create our own realities. From there, we are joined again by Jessica Starshine, who shared a well put together list of 6 practical tips for helping us raise our vibration and living a healthier and more vibrant and more clairvoyant life. Following that, our good friend Michael Brazel stopped by with some potent reminders about ego identity and having the courage to explore the shadow side of things too. By the end of the show, we were able to get in 3 more callers, including James, Aaron, and our good friend Spacelight Joe, who shared some stories and reminders about the health benefits and freedoms of spacelight, a crystal formula that can be diluted in water to help balance out our pH levels and optimize the state of our body, mind, and spirit. Paradigm Shift Radio is an awesome evolving community project that anyone can be involved with in numerous ways. Stay connected with the community, share this and past episodes with your friends, continue sharing the inspiration and love further with the people you know, and do what you can to help change the world, one day at a time. Thank you again, enjoy the show, and one love. It's time to wake up once again with Paradigm Shift Radio. This is your good buddy Skull Babylon, aka Brendon, aka Wolf Shield, joining you once again for another community co-created episode of Paradigm Shift Radio here tonight on a special Monday edition. And thank you so much everybody who is joining us live on air. And we got about 26 users in the live chat, and of course shout out to all the awesome users in the live chat. Just give a quick 1111 to confirm that things are sounding a-okay and to make sure that you guys are having a good time, get a little bit of feedback there. And on tonight's episode of Paradigm Shift Radio, we're going to be doing a Share What You Know show. So this is kind of similar to our regular intention to be able to give any of us a platform to be able to share our knowledge with a global audience through the radio show. And of course, if you haven't checked out yet, check out ParadigmShiftCentral.com. That's got all the main stuff on the website, plenty of videos, plenty of inspirational media, really, really cool stuff. I've explained it plenty of times before, but if you're new, just check out the website and that will bring you up to speed. And of course, join the Facebook community pages through there. In particular, join the Paradigm Shift Global Discussion Group. Join that, sync up with other shifters across the globe. If you're in the live chat right now, at any point, feel free to post your profiles into the live chat and consider that an invitation for people there to be able to join you. So by the end of this episode, I think everybody here could easily have at least like 10 or 20 new friends that they've hooked up with. And I think that's what this is all about. It's about being able to strengthen the grid. And through this collective evolution process, our ability to learn new things is contributing to the higher collective consciousness that we are all a part of. So again, you can find me at Facebook at facebook.com/SkullBabylon. And of course, check out youtube.com/SkullBabylon. If you haven't yet, you'll find lots of new videos that I got going up there, including my recent conscious movie review of the new movie Lucy that came out. And that's not particularly what we're going to be talking about here on the show tonight. Maybe we will. I can never say for certain. But just be able to check that out on my YouTube. And yeah, definitely giving that movie a thumbs up. And I got some other conscious movie reviews on there. And you can find all the awesome stuff. And I will say, for those of you with Instagram, you're going to be wanting to check out my new Instagram updates at instagram.com/ParadigmShiftRadio, which I am now fortunately able enough to manage now that I have a mobile device. So shout out to everybody who is particularly tuned in and listening through my Instagram audience. You guys are absolutely wonderful, and thank you so much for the feedback. And of course, thank you everybody who is tuned in and listening right now. And we want to be able to invite anybody onto the show. We got a couple people lined up in the queue, but we want to remind people that this is an opportunity for you to practice sharing your voice. So regardless of whether or not it's to a global audience, because we don't want it to be intimidating, just think of it as practice. That is what we're doing here. So even if you're new, just, follow your instincts. If you want to call in, it's your first time listening because you feel that you have something to share. And in the themes of sharing what you know, this is really quite open-ended. So, you could talk about maybe you want to share some particular meditation techniques. You want to share some lucid dreaming techniques. You want to teach us about some particular philosophies. You want to teach us maybe even some really cool like food recipe type ideas, things that maybe people haven't particularly come across, because that's the whole idea, is that all of us everywhere are on our own path, and as such we're all absorbing knowledge in unique and interesting ways, and then together we're sort of laying all this information out on the table, and then we can start to really connect the dots and see how this bigger picture comes together in terms of what this reality is, but more importantly, our ability to co-create within it. So that's what I just want to bring you guys up to speed on. And of course, through the main website, go to paradigmshiftcentral.com/shirts. You can order the new Open Your Heart shirts through there, the white shirts. You may not be able to tell, well, maybe you can hear it through my voice, but I'm wearing my white shirt right now, my Open My Heart shirt, the sacred white shirt. Really big fan of it. And of course, you can go to teespring.com/openyourheart. I'll post the links for that into the live chat in the next few minutes. And of course, facebook.com/paradigmshiftradio, and that will bring everybody up to speed. And of course, last thing, also check out facebook.com/paradigmshiftcentral if you haven't yet, for the community videos up through there. And if anybody wants to submit their own community videos, because an extension of what this radio show is about, if you make YouTube videos, connect to us through those community pages, and we want to be able to help share your videos with the global Paradigm Shift community audience. So we got people all over the place. We got people who are interested in being able to help make this world a better place. So by doing the inner work to be able to expand outwards into the outer world. So that's what we're talking about here tonight, amongst many other things on Paradigm Shift Radio. And with that said, we're going to bring on our first caller. And our first caller in the queue, I can see through the Skype name that we have, that it's actually our good friend Paul. Paul in the UK is actually with the Paradigm Shift community in the UK over there. So shout out to anybody who's across the other side of the ocean. Maybe you guys can hook up with Paul and get involved with all sorts of shifty stuff over there. But Paul, I'm excited to hear what he has to bring onto the air, and then from there we got a couple other callers in the queue, but we're just going to be able to flow with this, with the idea that each caller will try to keep them not limited, but aim to keep it concise, that way so we can bring more people onto the air. So we'll bring Paul on, we'll see what he wants to talk about. I know he's pretty big into the philosophy and the energy work and the martial arts, so I'm pretty excited to hear what he's got to share. So Paul, if you're ready, we're bringing you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. And again, just another reminder, as we really get rolling with this, to please invite your friends to Paradigm Shift Radio. Just post a link on your pages, post it on your friends' pages, let them know that it's live now, let them know that they can join the live chat, and let them know that this is really some next level stuff. So thank you again, everybody, for being a part of this. Now let's bring on Paul and let's get this show rolling. So Paul, if you're ready, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Hello,
Hi,
Paul.
Skull.
Hey,
Skull.
Paul. Welcome back. Welcome back, sir. Good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear yours too, and hello to everybody out there.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Paul, I mean, without really needing to chit-chat too much, what is it that you would like to share with through this show? What is it that you know that you would like to share with people?
Well, one of the many things I know or love to share is the Taoist philosophy and the Taoist arts. Tao means the way, the balance, or the flow. And George Lucas and the whole Star Wars and the Jedi Knights were actually based on the Eastern philosophies, and especially Taoism. And the whole Jedi thing, and even talking about the Force and the way they sort of talk about the Force and the universe and the light and the dark is very much the Taoist philosophy. And what that basically entails is this aim to be balanced, to balance mind, body and spirit. So through the mind is meditation, and through the body is things like Tai Chi and Qigong, which Qigong simply means energy exercise, and Tai Chi is a style of energy exercise which is also a martial art. And on the martial art is fitness, but it's also self-healing, which is the medical side, and it's also meditation. And meditation simply means to focus on one thing and forget everything else. So you have the mind side, which is meditation. You have the martial / physical side or fitness side, which is the Tai Chi and the Qigong. And then you have the energy, the healing side, which is things like Chi empowerments, which are actually older than Reiki. and you have, like, a lot of people have heard of, like, the Reiki systems, but there are obviously older systems. But it's the main thing I like to encourage and try to promote is this thing of balance. Is not just doing, say, yoga or Pilates or stretching, not just doing sports or fitness, not just doing meditation. Is the balance between the three. And a Taoist concept is to do it every day. So you do a little bit of meditation every day, a little bit of energy exercise, qigong, a little bit of fitness, a little bit of stretching. Because you look at, like, especially, I know you're a dog lover. Dogs and cats, they are natural Taoists. They do stretching, especially, you watch a dog and a cat. First thing they do when they wake up is they have a good stretch. Cats and dogs are notoriously known for sitting there staring into space. That's their meditation, and they do certain routines or certain daily exercises, which is their qigong. So they are, in essence, natural Jedi. They are natural qigong warriors. And it's the whole point of being this philosophy of being not the best, full stop, but being the best you can be, and raising. The aim is not to try to be perfect. The aim is to raise your balance. Is to find your average and keep raising it, rather than trying to be perfect. Because when you're perfect, the bigger the up, the bigger the down. The aim is to aim for your balance and to do it on a daily basis. Whatever you want out of life, if you do one little thing every day, you can aim towards that and gain it.
Very cool. Very cool. Absolutely. I like the fact that the Taoist philosophy really roots it back to, like, the simplicity of it, and just the importance of being able to create habit. They understand that this is not like a quick fix sort of thing, and it sort of reminds me of that idea of, like, it takes 21 days to sort of develop a new habit. So, I mean, those of you who really want to sort of, like, even just get into meditation, and you might find yourself sort of getting into it, and then you're just like, oh, this is, like, just not worth my time or like that. Really just use that as an opportunity to commit to it, because once you sort of get to a threshold, you'll actually realize that it becomes, like, natural, it becomes easier. So there's a lot of different things that you could apply this to within your life. But I'm really interested in learning more about the Tao philosophy. Just Paul, we got another caller who I know is only going to be around for a little bit, but I think he might be able to segue off some stuff that you're mentioning. So we're going to bring him on. We're going to keep you on as well, and then we'll be able to bounce some more ideas around. Does that sound good?
Yeah, cool, awesome.
Awesome, sounds good. All right, so we're going to bring on the next caller, and the next caller is actually our good friend John Erb. Those of you who have been tuned in for the last few episodes, you'll recognize him. He's a good buddy of ours, local buddy in Canada, and he's got a lot of interesting information to share. So I know he's only got a couple minutes on his time, but we're going to bring him on, and we're going to see what he knows that he wants to share on the show. So, John Erb, if you're ready, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go.
Yo.
Hey, John.
Oh, John Erb, if you're ready.
Oh, I can hear myself in the background. John, are you there? I assume, John, if you're there, just say hello, because I can hear stuff. Unless that's not John somehow? No, that should be John.
John, if you're there, just say hello.
Okay, so we may be having some technical glitches with John. We'll try that again in a moment. Not too sure what the issue with that is, but we'll, like I said, we'll try that again in a moment. But Paul, just passing it back to you. When I think of martial arts and everything like that, one of the most recognizable teachers is Bruce Lee. Now, was Bruce Lee what was his actual, like, philosophy background? Was it Taoism, or was there, like, another label that he was, another umbrella that he put himself under, or was he just, not one to confine to labels?
Well, he was very much not one confined to labels, and ironically enough, Tao. One of the first things that's said in the Tao Te Ching, which is sort of like the main bulk of Taoist philosophy, is that the Tao that can be named is not the true Tao, which in essence means, it sounds a bit of a riddle, but it basically means that labels just confuse things. That for me, like I say, dogs and cats are Taoists. Somebody who's got their natural way, their flow, they're a Taoist. That's the word I use. Like American Indians, they in their ancient culture, they would move from place to place to place. That was their natural way, their balance, their flow. So, I use the word Taoist. Now, Bruce Lee himself uses the whole "be water, my friend" is very much from the Taoist tradition. But in China, there's basically this mix of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, and they're very much intermingled. There's not, with philosophies and understandings more in the East, there's less of this segregation, that things are, one of the biggest things that used to, when Bruce Lee came to America, one of the biggest things that confused a lot of people, he was a martial artist who went to college, or university, to study philosophy. Now, in the West at the time, being of a martial background, studying philosophy didn't make much sense. But in the Eastern traditions, that's, in military, that's perfectly understandable, was understanding philosophy, understanding how to heal, and then understanding martial arts or military strategy, and these are all interconnected. They're all very much interlinked. And it's just this thing of, again, goes back to balance, is that, not being like a uneven scale and not being too weighted on one side. Very much of this, like for a lot of people with me, say, you're very spiritual, and then I start talking about quantum physics and talking about how the brain works and the whole anatomy and physiology, and I start blowing people's brains because but you're spiritual, and says, no, yes, but you're putting me in a box. The idea is to get rid of the box. Is that everything works and everything. You need to find balance. And the whole way of doing that is to, pick things from being in a sweetie shop and picking loads of sweeties and having loads of different flavours, or being
sweeties. Exactly.
That's British, sweeties is a British. Yeah. You say candy, we say we say sweeties. Or like being a chef. A good chef can can pick lots of different ingredients to make amazing flavours. Or you can just have just one and just add one or two additional things. But the whole thing is that using this balance to be able to blend things together.
Right.
Nobody is just one thing. Nobody is just constantly happy or constantly miserable or constantly coming out with fantastic ideas or constantly anything. You're always a blend of different things. And everybody, yourself, you're a radio presenter, you're an ice hockey player, you're a film, journalist, you do films, you do many different things, and that's the point. The point is to be able to do many different things and to flow with them all.
For sure. Which is good. Indeed. Awesome. We're going to try bringing on John again, and from there we got a couple more callers in the live chat, and we'll move through them in sequence. So, John, if you're ready, we're going to try bringing you onto the air once again, and we're going to work this out.
From there we got
John, can you hear me?
In the live chat, through them.
John, I think you might need to press a button on your phone or just call in again, because I can hear myself, but I can't hear any talking from you. And I can't spend all my time just trying to figure this out. So it was weird because it was working. I was talking to him before the show. All right, John, maybe just try calling in or just send me a message on Facebook if that's possible. But we're gonna bring on another caller shortly, or right now actually, and then we got a few more callers as well. We're gonna bring on caller from area code 503, and we're gonna add them into the conversation, and then as the opportunity arises, we'll try to bring John back onto the show. And Paul, are you in the live chat right now, Paul?
I am indeed, yes.
Yeah, well, awesome. So, Paul, just feel free to post your Facebook profile there, and then people can connect with you. And for anybody looking to connect with Paul, you can check him out at facebook.com/seafoodboggie, and it's SIFUBOGGIE. So you can check that out, or Paul Boggie Brighton. And yeah, we're going to just keep moving along with things here. So, caller from area code 503, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Hello, caller. Can you hear us?
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hey, man. All right. So, caller, please introduce yourself, where you're calling from, and what you know that you would like to bring to the show.
Well, my name's not really important, but if I had to call myself something, it'd be Is the Love.
Hi, it's the Love.
Hello, Is
What's
the Love.
up, brother?
Hey.
How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
Hey, I'm awesome. You know, living life, you know, enjoying the adventure.
As you should.
Awesome. Cool, man.
Never a dull moment, for sure.
Is the Love, what is it? Was there anything even Paul was talking about that maybe you just want to expand some ideas upon?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm definitely, I was thinking, you know, about the four elements, earth, air, fire, and water, and how they kind of represent the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, and how kind of all four of those together, really, the avatar is able to be at its full power.
Yeah, I agree totally. Coming from a slightly eastern side, there's an interesting thing where in the east they actually use 5 elements, so it's earth, metal, wood, water, and fire, and then other elements sort of fall into the I Ching. But yeah, there's this in the Eastern philosophy, at least, the elements are sort of phases, are sort of philosophies or different parts of nature, different phases into. So rather than, like, you know, people see like wood can be nurturing. Wood is, you know, the beginning of stuff. Metal is like very much strategy. Water is the ability to flow. I'm what's called I'm a water Taoist, so it's the ability to adapt and flow. And so using the elements rather, you know, as concepts, as ideas, not just as being one physical thing.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. For me, I kind of was touching on what they introduced to children recently on the Avatar, but you know, going back, you know, way back. I mean, everybody has this. It's essentially the absolute truth and the same truth. Just people kind of, you know, communicate it differently. But really, when those 4, I think, aspects for me come together, when my head is clear, when my heart is open, when I'm aware, you know, when I'm firmly grounded, centered, and when I'm in direct connection with Source, I'm able to really flow and create in the moment, and I can create consciously. And it, you know, it can happen where, I mean, kind of discussing what Skull talked about in the preview for Lucy, you know, when we really can master ourselves, we can take ourselves to the next level and operate 100%. And that's what I'm working on.
Cool, sounds cool. And a big thing to know is that there's many different Taoist concepts, but one of the biggest things, and the whole thing, the big thing with the whole paradigm shift is sometimes people think it's a little bit controversial, which is there is no right and wrong. You know, we've got this big thing of saying, oh, you know, this is good, this is bad, this is love, this is fear, you know, and things are what they are, and you know, from your past, from the bad times you've had, you've learnt good stuff, and from the good stuff, there has been things that then you know, they end, and that brings sadness, but the whole principle is everything changes, everything moves on. And so,
that's the important.
Oh, yeah, that's 100%. You know, is that
non-attachment?
Well, yeah, non-attachment definitely, but also is is like on both a Taoist and a Buddhist side is non-attachment, but also to enjoy stuff, let things be. But most in Taoism they say to be like a child is like to enjoy everything in life, enjoy the pleasures,
the adventure.
Indeed, well, it's all a big adventure. It's when we've got our head down, trolling on, just getting on with work and life, we miss so much awesome stuff. When you start opening your eyes and your ears and you start looking around, and your heart, very much so, suddenly all these synchronicities start happening, all the magic starts happening, the force flows strong in you. That's the whole point. These stories, like the Avatar and Jedi, Star Wars. This is all about opening yourself up to the real magic. Every good magician knows. Yes, there is science, there is technique to a magician's tricks, but the real power or the real aim of it is the magic, the awe. Is that somebody does a trick and you get somebody who doesn't know the trick. Oh wow, that's amazing, that's awesome. And
that power comes from within ourselves, and it's not external to us. We can't claim that power outside or try and control anyone or try and get people to do things. That's not real power. For me, real power is absolutely being masters of ourselves and knowing that we can't control anybody else. And that even if we could, it wouldn't be worth it because they have to be essentially their own master.
Well, yeah, indeed. And the biggest truth, both in psychology and NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, and in Taoist life coaching, is what you perceive is true, is real. Like for example, phobias. People who are scared of spiders, to them that is a real fear. That's a real problem. A perceived problem is a real problem. So when you think about that, when you start studying that concept, it's like, hold up. If what you perceive is true, that means you can turn anything to your advantage. So one of the
Are we creating out of fear, or are we creating out of love?
Well, very much so. Modern society, when you look at media is notoriously known. I have journalists and people who run big papers in the UK, and they've always said bad news sells because that's for them what they've been told. The media is very much on negativity. Now, so we live in a society based on fear, and you can easily hear it in people saying, oh, they're worrying about terrorism, oh, they're worrying about this, oh, they're worrying about that. And it's like, the whole point is that if it's true, the saying, what you focus on is true.
You will create.
Exactly. So, if you don't want to create fear, don't focus on fear. Oh, that's so easy to say, Boggy. But it's so hard. It's so hard. Well, funny, what you believe is true. So, focus on what you want rather than focusing on what you don't want.
Cool.
Yeah. Why would you go to a restaurant and order what you don't want? Or why would you go to a grocery store and get everything that you don't want? You want to go to the grocery store and get what you want, what's good for you.
But
what's healthy.
Cool. Guys, I'm gonna jump in on this. We're just gonna keep things moving along so we can invite a couple more callers onto the airs. We do got a few more people, and we'll just sort of see, just kind of steering this conversation, steering this ship a little bit. And I think what you guys are hitting upon is awesome, but we'll sort of see if we can narrow it down to some specific topics opposed to just everything. Yeah, because that's what we're talking about right now. But it's good though. I think you guys were. I was multitasking and sharing the show while you guys were talking. So thanks for doing what you guys were doing there. And everybody's still on the line.
Much love for you, brother.
Oh, likewise, man. And we're gonna bring on another caller. Actually, let me just check with John Herb one more time. If this works, then we'll go from there. But if not, we're gonna bring on one of our other friends shortly after that. So, John, area code 203. We're gonna try bringing you onto the show once again. Here we go.
Then we'll go from there. But if not, we're
John, are you there? It sounds like it's the same issue.
Shortly after that. So,
Okay, I don't know what the issue with that is. So we tried that, but anyways, that just means that we get to bring on our lovely friend Jessica Starshine, who actually called into the show last time, and I know she got some good feedback from just a few moments that she was on the air. I think a lot of people were really inspired, and it's always nice to just be able to bring in all sorts of different perspectives into this conversation. So, sorry, Jessica, I said Jennifer. Jessica, if you're ready, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio, and we're going to go from there. And then shortly after that, I will just say we have caller from area code 4949. If you want to queue up into the show, press 1. But other than that, it looks like we actually have our good buddy Michael Brazel, who is going to be able to drop by, and I'm sure he's got plenty of stuff that he'll be able to share with us. So we're going to bring on our friend Jessica, and we're going to go from there. So Jessica, if you're ready, we'll bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Hello. Hi, Jessica. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Awesome.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Well, Jessica, just really passing the talking stick over to you. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that you would want to be able to share. So just kind of starting from wherever you feel comfortable. But yeah, just what is it that you know that you would like to share through the show?
Beautiful. Well, I'll start with saying thank you, Brendon, for having me on the show tonight. And thank you to all the previous callers for all the exciting things they've been discussing. From discussing the Taoist philosophy, it's something that I also really appreciate, and I kind of discussed briefly on the last show. Kind of to tie into all of that, I would like to discuss tonight how we can raise our vibration.
Right on.
Yeah, this is something that I've been playing around with over the past little while. It is an ancient art, if you want to call it that, but it's something that is something that's inevitable in human evolution, and something that is documented in many ancient texts, and it's maybe a taboo mystical art, if you want to call it that. But really, it's quite simple and quite easy, and I feel like living in such uncertain times, it is the best way we can arm ourselves against the uncertainty. So, here goes. I have a list of 6 things that I would like to offer. I could probably talk in depth about each one for a very long time, so I've kept the notes succinct. The first one is to bring awareness to our intention. The world that we live in, some may debate this, but as you start to raise your frequency and your vibration, you become aware that the world is malleable. It is something that you are able to work with. It is something that you're able to manifest within. And so the intention, bringing our awareness into our intention in each moment, it's a sort of mindfulness practice, and it kind of ties into meditation as well. But intention is also tied into intuition. So tuning into those little voices inside and our feelings and our emotions which guide us. So for example, doing what feels right. This is a great way to tune into our intention. If we're doing something, it could be something as simple as picking up a glass of water. But if this glass of water, if I have some mixed feelings about it, maybe I don't trust the water, or maybe I feel like I'm not really thirsty, why am I drinking it? That's a good way for me to tune into my intention, because the intention will guide me to what is right. So that's the first step. To kind of branch out a little bit with that, going into conscious language. So not only does our intention guide our actions, but it also guides our words. And again, going back to reference ancient times, words were considered to be much more than they are considered to be these days by some. We're now expanding into our consciousness and our awareness of what power words hold. But one quick little thing about intention and words is replacing I want and I need, or becoming aware of when we're using those things, because want and need, basically anything that we state after we say I becomes a declarative statement. So if we say that I am, empowered, or I am calling forth, or I am aligned with, those are empowered statements. Those statements are empowered because I am aware of my intention. For example, if I say, I want a glass of water, it's okay if the glass of water comes to me, but me stating that I want it or that I need it places it just out of my reach. So those statements are actually disempowering. The universe only knows how to respond to what we ask for. And what I've heard and what I've experienced with want and need is that it keeps the carrot dangling in front of our noses. So there's that. Step number 2, quickly, food and water. So eating high vibrational foods that are dark in color and pigment, for example, red cherries, blueberries, kale, chia seeds, quinoa, pink Himalayan sea salt. These are foods that have high nutrient yield, and they haven't been tampered with in a way where the intention of who was growing them is impure. In some cases, yes, but it's always best to go organic. So the thing with food and water is choose the highest vibration of food and water that you can, and that actually works to alchemize your body in wondrous ways. You can also add, this is the third point, just going to kind of fly through these points a little bit for not taking all the time, but prayer and affirmation. So you can actually pray over your food and you can pray over your water. What this does is it actually increases the vibration and frequency of the food and the water that you're going to intake. Not only that, but it actually alchemizes your physical body because your body is over 70% water. So when you actually vibrate sound through your vocal cords, it creates that energy not only rippling throughout time and space into your external world, but also in your entire body and also into your food. Another thing is meditation, something that Paul kind of touched on a little bit with the Taoist principles. Spending 5 minutes at the start, the very, very start, first thing when you get up in the morning, and last thing before you go to bed at night. 5 minutes. I mean, just 5 minutes is the most bare basic minimum amount of time in mindfulness. So you close all the lights, or you close all the distractions, you turn off all the sound, you turn off your cell phone, you turn off your computers. Those things shouldn't be in the bedroom, by the way, just so you know. That does affect your vibration when you're sleeping. Anyway, 5 minutes in mindfulness each day, and you will notice profound differences in your life. You will be able to navigate through the waters of uncertainty with much more clarity, with much more calmness. And what meditation is great for is it brings you into oneness. It brings you into oneness with yourself. It brings you into oneness with all that is. And so it creates this beautiful sacred space of stillness. And how that affects your vibration is because when we have chaotic thoughts and we have chaotic ideas and our mind is racing, that creates stress in the body, and it creates a myriad of other issues and illnesses in the body as well. So that is something that's very important. Number 5, tied into meditation, is to balance the chakras. I'm going to post on somewhere after this conversation a little YouTube video, very quick and easy to listen to. You can even download it off the internet, but it's binaural beats, and it is a chakra balancing binaural beats thing that you listen to. There's many of them online. You can research it. Listening to music that specifically is specific for balancing the chakras is very, very important because, for example, if you don't have time to meditate, which is ridiculous, we can always make time for that. However, if we don't make time for it, this is a quick and easy way for us to tune into ourselves and balance using sound. Sound therapy is something very ancient and something very accessible. Number 6, this is the last little tidbit I have for today. Like I said, I could talk forever about these things, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say about them. But number 6 is crystals. for any of you who know me personally, I'm into crystals. I don't like to exploit the earth. I will say that. I don't like to even advocate people wearing crystals because we can tap into the frequency of crystalline energy with our intention. However, if you do feel called to work with crystals, they are a perfect structure unto themselves, and they emit a frequency that is perfect. It is crystalline, and it is very harmonious with the natural energy bodies of the human body system. So wearing certain crystals can activate you and can help to raise your frequency. I'm going to list 4 of my top 4 favorite crystals that I recommend for this. Number 1 is moldavite. I'm sure some of you out there may have heard about moldavite. It's kind of very sought after. It's a very ancient, it's not even a crystal actually, it's part space, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a glass, like a molten glass. And the way that it was formed was, I guess I go on a little story with this, but anyway, look it up, research it, moldavite. I'll type it in a window or something later. But moldavite will activate your energy bodies. It will align your chakras. It'll open your heart chakra. It will allow you to feel. It'll allow you to tune into your intuition, and it will enhance and greatly bring you to a rapid spiritual awakening. So I'm going to warn you guys, if you start to wear it, you're going to feel different. Very, very, very different. Very, very, very quickly. Number 2 is black tourmaline. Black tourmaline is really great for warding off negative energies, and this is something that a ton of people express to me when I meet them. People are sensitive to what's going on around them. So raising your frequency with these 6 steps is definitely going to help. However, having a crystal on you is like an extra coat of armor. So if you didn't get to meditate in the morning, or you didn't charge up your water with your prayer and intention, put a crystal on and you're good to go. Black tourmaline. The next one is petalite. Petalite allows you to tune into the angelic frequencies or your higher expressions of self. It is very, very powerful as well, just like moldavite. So I'm warning you guys, if you put it on, you're going to feel different. It lightens your vibration, and it allows you to feel a kind of floaty feeling. It actually makes me feel dizzy at times, so just a warning. And then rose quartz is the last one. Rose quartz is a heart opener. It is good for harmonizing the energy body, allowing you to feel divine love, and that's my that's my 6 steps to raise your vibration for the day.
Awesome. Well, I think those are definitely some worthwhile steps to keep in mind. And it's interesting because I'm just trying to think back on what possibility there was of this conversation taking place like a few years ago, even just in the sense of like our own understanding of it. Maybe that would just be like just in terms of conversation. Then I'll bring Paul and Isla back onto the show also and get their feedback. But Jessica, how recently have you sort of acquired this knowledge within your own path? Like within the last 3 years, or was this something you started like learning almost 10 years ago, or have you sort of always been around crystals? Like I'm just kind of curious because you definitely speak with a lot of confidence in what it is that you're sharing here, and that's because these are things that you're not just talking about, but you've practiced them, you've brought them into your own life, and you've gained the experience and the knowledge to be able to say, like, hey, yes, this does work. And of course, there's a thing with crystals, which I think is interesting, because some people will say, like, well, they don't work. And it's quite simple in the idea that, like, if you think they'll work, they'll work. And if you don't think they'll work, then they won't work, sort of thing. But, I mean, there's a whole conversation about crystals there in itself. But again, just going back to what I was asking, how over what time period have you been acquiring some of this knowledge?
With specific regards to crystals, that's actually something that I've been into since I was a child. And I didn't even consciously really realize that until maybe 3 years ago when I had my spiritual awakening. Kind of clicked in my head, and I was like, I've always been interested in crystals. So it's been a lifelong passion, and it's been something that I've been working with, learning about, and expanding over a period of my lifetime. But I I started to get much more into it in terms of research and educating myself on the different properties and working with them intuitively and offering to other people as well, offering intuitive guidance with regards to crystals and things like that over the past 3 years. With regards to the other steps that I offered, those things were kind of more recent. I could say that maybe they were ingrained in bits and pieces throughout my life, but over the past 3 years, it's really been, since my spiritual awakening, it's been pretty full on since then.
And I mean, I really appreciate just having a chance to sort of like ask you these questions. But do you feel that, I mean, just having this innate sort of like just being interested in things related to not just crystals, but just like developing our intuition and things like that, and even just because I know you practice doing like psychic reading and stuff like that too. Do you feel like that this stuff is just like almost inevitable within a spiritual awakening? Like, is that part of what the spiritual awakening is to you, is to be able to remember that we actually have like all these little tricks and trades and tools that we otherwise were commonly overlooking because we were constantly distracted prior to that awakening? You know, we were sort of in that drone phase, and when we sort of have the blinders on, a lot of people won't access some of the resources that they have. So I mean, if that made sense though, if you could take a question out of that, I think you know where I'm going.
Definitely. No, I'm so grateful for that. Yes, that's actually something that I'm on this planet to do, which is to help people realize. Also, as I'm learning, right? As I'm learning, everybody's learning, and I'm so grateful that you touched on that point, because, again, going back to the question you asked me about crystals, I believe and I feel that what we're interested in when we are children, that is our pure state. And there are some things that we are drawn to as children that show up in our lives either consistently or inconsistently, but they act as kind of clues or tools that point us towards this knowledge, this ancient knowledge. And I feel it's kind of a matter of us unlearning everything that we've learned, as you're mentioning, the blinders go on, taking those blinders off step by step. And again, just to reemphasize, like, these tools are definitely tools that are already within us. This is ancient knowledge. This is, this is nothing new. It is new in the sense that we are now uncovering it, but it's beyond us. And yeah, the external world, the meditation, the this and the that, these are all great things. But again, to go back to the point of unfolding, we are merely trying to arrive at a point of oneness, a point of realizing that we are divine. We are already divinely perfect beings, as I see and understand it. And so these tools are just a way to help us, and as we raise our frequency and vibration, the tools become greater. The tools become more powerful because we also become more powerful. We start to see that, we start to see ourselves in those tools. We have more faith in them and more belief in them. So, for example, going back to that point about crystals, you said some people don't believe in it. It's really that simple. Whatever you believe in is finely tuned to you. So I may believe that crystals will help me. Some people don't use crystals, and that is totally perfectly fine, because everybody will be guided to, like I said, whatever they're interested in. And everybody has, we kind of have the same unique talents, gifts, and abilities in a sense that we're all one, but we all have unique expressions of these things. Some people are developing superpowers that astound me, that I know are not my superpowers. My superpowers are different. Like you mentioned, the psychic power. Yes, I believe everybody's psychic, but I believe that some people are more attuned to that than others, and it's kind of like that. So everybody, we may be able to tap into each other's superpowers or super tools and use them, but ultimately to follow your inner guidance and to go with what feels right. I don't know if that.
Yeah. No, I think, and I'll just take a moment here, and then we'll bring Paul and Isla back on. I think you hit upon a really key thing there, that it's not really expected for all of us to sort of stretch ourselves out into a million directions all at once and just be able to be like, oh, like, well, actually it depends, because if you get a habit of it, I was just gonna say, be like, oh, like I need to go like juice my vegetables and do my meditation at the same time while buying new crystals and doing my sun gaze and then getting asleep soon enough that I can practice my meditation and then do my lucid dreaming, and then it sounds ridiculous when you sort of just like lay it out like that. But again, going even back to what Paul was saying, imagine what happens if you actually start making a routine out of that, and rather than it just be, it starts to become more of a lifestyle. And I mean, that's something I know for yourself that is developed, and even for myself and a lot of people listening, is you do this paradigm shift sort of becomes like a way of living, a way of thinking. It's not, it almost starts off first as if like it's like this inquisitive hobby where you're just starting to click around links on the internet, and then you start to spend more time and you feel yourself drawn towards this because it's something different. It's something that you feel there's substance to, and it may not be something that you can explain at the time, but you know that, hey, like there's something about this that attracts me that isn't like this isn't a commercial sort of thing. Like I know Alon sort of talks about that when he does the free hugs and stuff, and it's because of that people can sort of pick up on some really interesting just ideas that they're drawn towards. And again, like I like the idea that in that sense, like some people have different abilities, some people are more tuned to different frequencies, and some people may be like more clairvoyant, some maybe people will be like more like sensitive to like audio, there's a proper term for that, but then also clairaudience, of course. And then, of course, just like other people who may be like lucid dreamers by default. Like these are all people who I've met and everything, and I can go on with just other examples and stuff. But I mean, that's kind of the thing, is that we're all sort of picking up on just like these different parts of ourselves that are just really amazing, and they sort of take our ability to interact with this reality to a whole nother level. And like one of my favorite things is just understanding synchronicities, and more so understanding the ability to like create and interact and know that synchronicities are like the way how the universe works, rather than just saying like, oh gee, like I hope I'll run into someone. It's like, oh boy, I can't wait till I run into someone. Who's it going to be this time, sort of thing. So just it's that knowing, it's just that experience. And again, like you said, this isn't new stuff. Synchronicity is not something that just showed up in the 21st century. It's been around forever. It's been around, and that's why like the mystics and the ancients would have been, quite pleased to hear people talking about it today after we've sort of gone through this. A lot of this information has been occult, has been esoteric, has been hidden, and now it's coming up to the surface thanks to people such as yourself who have the courage to be able to talk about it freely in a safe space such as Paradigm Shift Radio, and for everyone listening. So we got really awesome stuff, and just again reminding and just thanking everyone so much for being a part of this community episode. And we're going to bring on a couple other callers. I would like to bring on Michael Brazel shortly. I'm sure he would actually, you guys would have a great conversation, I'm sure of that. And we'll bring on Paul, and we'll bring on Islov as well. I was just going to say, based on just a little bit of knowledge that I can pass on to the audience, and it's just related to the crystals again. One thing that was said to me that really resonated with me was the idea that with crystals, it's not so much about this crystal or that crystal. Yes, they do have properties in the same way we have different fruits and vegetables. We also have different crystals, and each one is sort of unique and serves a different purpose, if you think about it that way. But more so than that, it's what is important is actually the placement of the crystals. And this could be related to people who get into the idea of like placing crystals around certain parts of their rooms. You can get into like creating grids with crystals. That's not something I so much have done, but it's really interesting because you can, again, these are all ideas that you can sort of play around with. But if you're working with crystals, like pay attention to where you're putting your crystal, and that just may mean like having it on a necklace, or just like something that you keep in your back pocket, or something that you keep on the dashboard of your car, or just like on the mantle in your dresser, or just somewhere where you can see it. And even just seeing it sort of triggers this like recall and a specific intention and memory that you sort of have associated with that crystal. So again, you can program crystals. It's really cool. So Jessica, you're still there, yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so let's bring on Paul and Isalove back onto the air, and we'll give them a moment here just to add in their thoughts. And then after that, we'll bring on our good buddy Michael Brazel. So, Paul and Isalove, you guys are unmuted. Welcome back.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Sifu.
So either you guys, if you just wanted to share any thoughts or just any additional knowledge that you can add onto this.
After you, good sir.
Oh, okay then. Thank you, dear sir. Just say, well, firstly, Sifu, which means, in essence, it means father teacher, but you're a female father. You're a mother teacher. You have the knowledge. You have the information. And it's spot on. I mean, crystals for me, I've done crystal Reiki or crystal empowerments, and crystals are apps, they're downloads, but they're beings. They are energy. Yes. They're energy souls. Everything. My philosophy, is ancient. A form of ancient Taoism is everything is alive. Think of the Matrix. But everything is alive, not just plants, not just animals, not just insects, but trees, rocks. Everything is consciousness. Everything is alive. So therefore, everything has information to give you. Everything is your seafood. So you can learn from everything and everyone. The only one other thing I would add is that originally in the ancient cultures, you mentioned about the chakras, is that originally each consciousness, each soul had 5 layers of energy, which is the meridians, the chakras, the auras, the Merkaba, and then I say Torah, but the Taurus field. And knowing a little bit, you don't have to know everything, but knowing a little bit of different things improves your information, improves you. You never stop learning. So for me, knowing the 5 different layers of energy, not where the chakras are very much 60% based on the emotions and the mind, the meridians are 60% based on the actual body and on the organs, and the auras are 60% more based on the spirit. But these are all different layers. They're all different layers to the same thing. You are all those things. You are, as I said before, you're not just a male, female. You're not just a writer.
A body.
But you're multiple things.
Yeah.
You are
so much more than we know.
And the idea is to think of yourself like that. You're multifaceted. You're so much. You're not just one thing, and all of these things are important. Not just
indeed.
Everything.
Good point.
I wanted to ask you a question, if I could. Just what your thoughts are on evolution from carbon to crystalline.
Who are you asking?
We think about our bodies, and we think of our bodies kind of similar to certain other elements, such as Earth. Our body is from Earth. Our mental awareness, our emotional centeredness and control. Being able to be tapped in. I think for me, what she was kind of touching on, all those different exercises and practices that we do through our day or through, our experience that bring us to our center. The meditation, clearing our head, operating with a clear head and an open heart, flowing, creating, enjoying life, enjoying the play, being light as a feather, but staying centered and grounded while connected to the source, kind of like a tree. And that's kind of what I liked about Skull Babylon. He talked about, our connection to trees and how we have, really more than we know, we are kind of trees. And with the thing about the trees and being rooted in the ground, and then, the branches out into, the vast expanse, the field, whatever you want to call it, just out into open space. So it's connected to both. And it's kind of like almost a bridge, and we ourselves are kind of like a bridge. And what you were, speaking about with the chakras, working with the chakras, we have to realize that there are maybe certain things that are blocking us in a way, like, fear, for instance, survival, fear of survival, fear of the unknown, attachment to things we don't know if we're going to have them tomorrow, so we're afraid that we're going to lose them. So we're operating out of fear, and we're not actually in the moment because we're thinking about the future, the past, or what happened. So we're like blaming and shaming ourselves, and we're grieving over certain things, we're resenting certain things. We have to let all that stuff go in order to really flow and be in the moment and operate kind of like a child. And with those certain things, that it's the meditation and creating art and sharing with people and connecting with people and enjoying the play of form. I mean, it all goes into that, and it really kind of it takes us to a whole nother level when we operate it that way.
Oh, very much.
Right on.
And one thing to add is, like, we were talking about crystals, is that if you look at the medical in the medical side, and you look at the Earth has crystals within it. The Earth is one big crystal. In the human body, there are crystal deposits. You are a living crystal. So when you were talking about going from carbon-based to a crystalline based structure, well, there are already crystalline deposits in you, and crystals, just like everything else, is frequency. It's resonating frequency. So you are a living crystal.
Yes.
Be a crystal, my
We're
friend.
evolving.
That's beautiful, Paul. That's beautiful.
Hey,
Yeah.
what do I know?
Oh, that's lovely.
I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, what we all shared here is, very valuable, and the fact that we're all sharing it in this way and on this level is truly something remarkable, I'd have to say.
And just very, very quickly, you were saying about trees, and like Skull before has, said a lot about trees. There are lots of different qigongs, energy exercises that copy, that shadow tree movements. One of my most basic exercises I teach is called Twist the Waist, but it's actually originally known as Willow Tree Qigong, because you basically, when you look at a little child and they twist their waist and they flop their arms around, and say, I don't want to go to school, or they're bored and they just twist them side to side and they flop their arms. That's basically a version of Willow Tree Qigong, where you're rooting the bottom half of your body and you're opening up your hips, your bar, and twisting your waist, but you're relaxing the top half of the body. And there's it helps on medical sides, but also this fluidic or flowing motion, when your body is fluid, your mind is fluid, your emotions are fluid, your spirit is fluid. So it's this ability to be rooted to the ground, but yet be flexible when twisting. And there are different. It's the whole thing in Shaolin Kung Fu and the whole thing in the Taoist arts of imitating other things. Is imitating the animals or imitating the elements and becoming part of that, being that thing. Be water, my friend.
Cool. Thank
be
you,
able
Paul.
to make the best out of any situation, regardless of what it is. Being masterful. And in our evolution, we're learning how to do that, and being aware of our choices, and the response to the circumstance will depend on how our reality is created from then on out. Are we creating unconsciously from a level of somewhat ignorance, or are we having a certain level of awareness and moving into more awareness continually and at every moment, being ever so more masterful in our experience?
No.
Yeah, but
Cool.
have fun.
I think it only happens when we're operating out of the heart center, though, because our ego tends to like to play tricks and run around and think it's the big dick.
Indeed, but the ego, don't forget, the ego is part of you. It's not some, like the whole thing in movies, you see the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other. Well, that comes from back to ancient culture, where the devil was the ego, the monkey mind.
The ego's the servant, though. we're the masters. We're the ones that are on the computer. Our egos are kind of like a computer almost when we're operating it. We're in control, not the ego. We have to realize we're so much more than our ego.
For sure, guys. I'm gonna step in. I'm gonna just step in on this, and nothing against the conversation. Again, we need.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, we can always keep branching the conversation out from there, but just keeping an eye on the time. We're gonna bring on a few more callers, and I wouldn't be stopping you unless we had some more callers to bring on, and we fortunately have at least like 3 more callers in the queue. So we're gonna bring on our good buddy Michael Brazel. I'm just gonna mute you guys just for a second, just with the background hum. I think it's coming off Paul. So Jessica, was there something you just wanted to say real quick? I think you were trying to jump in on that.
Yes.
Maybe.
I just a little point again to sum up and kind of streamline what we're all kind of touching on. But I think it's like coming back to that state of oneness, that state of innocence, that childlike play, being.
Mm-hmm.
Very simply, and just seeing that we are a part of everything. That's the childlike innocence.
Yeah, awesome. And it's something that, time and time again, like that's really what we're here to be able to help remind each other of. And through that is like the empowerment of it all, because you ask the question, it's like, all right, I know all this stuff. What happens next? So that is the question that we are living right now through Paradigm Shift Radio. And again, I love the idea, like we literally are like beings of light. I think that's just such a cool thing. We're like walking, talking giant crystals of light. So that's a pretty cool thing. But we're going to bring on our good buddy, Michael Brazel. Jessica, we'll keep you just unmuted for a moment, and we'll bring Paul and It's the Love back on, and we'll also move on to another caller from area code 647. So caller from area code 647, just you'll be next, and then caller from 727 will be on after that. But we got about 37 minutes left in the show, and I just want to be able to remind you guys that you can help support Paradigm Shift Radio by ordering shift buttons through the main website, paradigmshiftcentral.com/buttons, or signing up as a monthly supporter at paradigmshiftcentral.com/donate. And definitely this does help with the production of the show. That includes myself and the graphics and all of the management, and being able to get this up and accessible to be able to have this as a tool so that we can share, and of course just all sorts of awesome stuff happening through the community. And I will say we normally give the free button draws for each week, but for this one, we're just gonna try this. I'm gonna be holding off on a button draw for this episode unless we get a donation or someone signing up for a new membership donation. Excuse me, for only $4 a month. And the reason for that is just to be able to help keep things afloat. It's just being able to help make sure, because there's been quite a few orders. We've already given out shout out to everybody who's received their free batch of shift buttons. We've been doing that for less than half a year. But yeah, we've already given probably 500 free shift buttons through the service of that we do here each episode. But like I said, if we can get someone to donate, or just send me a message on Facebook and let me know if you want to donate, maybe not right this second, but in the next day or so, and then we'll still be able to get in a button draw for the end of the episode. But if you want to get entered into the theoretical button draw, which may or may not happen, it's in a quantum state right now. We'll have to see what you decide. But you can do that by sending a message to facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio and let us know that you're listening to the show and that you want to be entered into the draw for the free shift buttons. And of course, the shift buttons are super awesome tools to help evoke synchronicity and take part in building community and shifting the paradigms where you are. So not only do they look awesome, but they work well too. So with that said, we're going to bring on our good buddy Michael Brazel, and we're also got Jessica. We still got her on the queue, or I'm just going to bring her on. I just had her muted for a second because she was typing. But yeah, we'll just roll from there. So Jessica, are you still there?
Yes.
I think. Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna bring on our good buddy Michael. I haven't heard from him in a while, and I'm excited to hear what knowledge he might want to pass on. So, Michael Brazel, if you're ready, I'm gonna bring you back on a Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello, hey. Michael Brazel.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, man. Hi.
Hi.
Wow, what a great. No, I don't think we have. I don't remember. Maybe.
Yes. Yes, you were saying great, good times, eh? Good times.
Yeah, these are always good times. They're always good times. I think there are no other times but good times, especially when we're on Paradigm Shift Radio. Yeah.
For sure. Awesome.
So, interesting conversations tonight.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot that you could definitely add into some of the conversation. But Michael, maybe if there's a new direction that you might want to steer us in, maybe something that gets less talked about here on the radio show, that you could maybe just share as something that you can share for the show. Do you have anything in mind?
Yeah. So I'll start off talking a little bit about what they were closing off with there with ego and, intuition, because my work is primarily around intuition and establishing soul contact, and even my own path is changing in how I relate to the work that I do. Like my show is no longer called Soul Interaction Radio, it's Soul Empowerment Radio. And it's about balancing out the different frequencies that are running through us. And we have this beautiful voice that's always dialoguing with us. And a lot of people always assume that the ego is something that needs to be eradicated. And you can no more eradicate your ego than you can, chop off your own arm. It's part of you. It's who you are. And the way I look at ego and intuition and the way they balance each other out is our intuition is our direction and our ego is our action. So the idea is we want to have a healthy ego to where our ego is helping us to stand powerful in the world that we're existing in, because as much as we may want to be in fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional space, we are here in this third dimensional reality. And this is where we are creating our divine experience. This is where we are living the soul journey and the soul path. And it's important for us to do things like this, where we're having these dialogues with one another, because it lets us see who we are. And what's been coming up in a lot of the readings and stuff that I do is at a base level and at a core level, we all want to be seen, and we all want to be experienced. And I think we do that here in this tactile reality, and it's wonderful when we can come together on a show like this and co-create this experience together, because we're hearing each other's voices, and now it's captured on the internet for posterity, and we can always go back and listen to this experience. But I think we all need to have that vulnerability, and that comes in through that balance of ego and intuition. When we are able to let our walls down enough to let each other in, it's a powerful way to experience the world. Because oftentimes we get caught up in, we want to do ayahuasca, we want to do DMT, we want to have these very transcendent experiences, but the most transcendent experience we can have is to be fully present with those in our life. That happens here, and that's beautiful. And I'm going to say this because I say it a lot, and I think it's true, and I think we have to embrace this reality on some level, is that, this physical body is going to die at some point. We're all going to die. And that's a beautiful thing, because it means that our time here in this experience is limited. And that means we have to do as much as we can and experience as much as we can while we are still in these, meat shells. And I think it's important for us to understand that when we are able to stand in presence with one another, that is the most transcendent thing we can do. And we always talk about these wonderful spiritual processes and things that we can do and things that we can experience, but bring it down into something more tangible and more practical. If we stay just in the conceptual, I love that we talk about stones and crystals, because that's a way to make spirituality more tactile. Some people will experience phenomenal things from certain stones, and some people won't feel much at all. But I think the fact that I can hold, touch, experience this little being, it allows me to have that tactile connection to some aspect of my spirituality. And I think that's something that ends up getting missing in a lot of the spiritual circles and dialogues, is how do we make this stuff practical? How do we make this stuff something that I can experience and embrace? The most difficult path in spirituality is the path of integration, and learning to integrate my many parts into my experience. I consider myself a shadow walker, meaning that I'm not afraid to go into the darker aspects of myself, because we have to embrace those parts of ourselves that we don't want to look at. We are the entirety of our experience. We are our addictions. We are our traumas. We are our drama. We do this dance, and we have to embrace those parts of ourselves too. If we're light workers, the more light you bring into life, the bigger your shadow gets. So you have to embrace the part of yourself that you have difficulty looking at. And part of the thing that I do in a lot of the sessions that I do with folks is I bring you to the edge of that experience, because it's important to understand that we have to love all of those parts of self. We have to love it. It's like I may hate this trauma and I may hate this experience that I went through, but that experience is part of me. The scar may be a reminder of the pain, but I have to love the pain on some level. And through that love and through that acceptance is where true forgiveness begins to move through our experience. And that is the soul current. That is that divine connection to this reality. So the challenge that I always offer people is, don't try so hard to get away from here. Be here now. Be in this reality just as much as you want to be in all those other wonderful realities that we can access. Lucid dream by all means, but then come back here and create something fantastic that's tangible, that you can show someone and say, look at what I did. The other day I got a letter from a friend, like in the mail. I was like, wow, a letter. It's like the most fantastic thing ever. And she put little feathers and drew on the envelope, and it was like the first time in forever that I've actually got a letter from someone. And it was just the most fantastic thing to have this piece of paper that someone else wrote on, and it traveled across the country to get to me. And I think we've lost a lot of that. And it's about recapturing a bit of that connection that we all truly share. So, bring it back. Go lucid dream and fly through the skies, but then come back here and sit on the earth and connect to somebody. Look into someone's eyes and really see the person that's right in front of you. Really see the animal that you're petting. Really be with everything that's in your life. Don't let your distractions get the best of you. And spirituality can be a distraction. We can want to play with crystals and do this stuff, and then we're ignoring our partner, or we may be ignoring our parents or ignoring a sibling. And because our time here is so finite, we can't take for granted that time that we have with one another. So it is, for me, the most transcendent experience. It's just sitting with someone in this reality and saying, I'm here with you, and just truly seeing that person and allowing ourselves to also be seen. And there you have it.
Cool.
Wow. Beautiful.
Right on, Michael.
That's how we roll,
Yeah. Well, it's through all the experience that you've done through your own Blog Talk show, and just plugging that, obviously, Soul Interaction Radio on Blog Talk. You can find that at blogtalk.com/Soul Interaction Radio. State the obvious.
No, it's blogtalk.com/Michael Brazel, because I changed it. The show's now Soul Empowerment Radio, so it's like changed.
That's right. You said that.
Yeah,
cool.
So we're like evolving it. So it's now just Michael Brazel. That way it's just easy. So because I have spiritual ADD, so it's going to change like 50 times, before the end of the week. So.
And of course, you can connect with Michael at facebook.com. M Brazel, so the letter M and then Brazell. So just run a search on that and you'll be able to connect with Michael. Now, just moving things along, I'll give Jessica a chance just to respond to that also, but I do want to be able to just see how many other callers we can get still onto the air with only 25 minutes left. And still looking for someone to be able to send me a message if you're able to be a contributor for this week, to be able to help enable us to get those free shift buttons out there that will change the world. Your contribution will be able to help change this reality by helping us get that free batch of shift buttons out. But again, just send me a message for that in the live chat or on Facebook or whatever. But moving on with things here, we'll bring on the callers in the next minute, but just passing back over to Jessica. Jessica, just any additional thoughts, reactions to what Michael was talking about there?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Michael. That was very beautifully elocuted, and don't let me forget what I was going to say. What I was going to say, to elaborate on the point of being here in the moment, and it's ironic we're communicating to each other over an electronic medium and talking about being with each other, but the beauty of it is that the transcendence of the connection to the spirit allows us to feel and to be fully present. So it doesn't matter who's with you physically. It does. Don't get me wrong by saying that. It definitely matters. However, let it not be a limitation to experiencing presence, because we can also experience that presence with ourselves, truthfully, candidly, rawly, feel those emotions, go there. Yeah, I love that. I also do a lot of work with the darker aspects, being a light worker, and that just spoke directly to my heart and illuminate a lot of the work that I've done over the years. So one little thing I was going to say is I like the idea or the story of people who live in other parts of the world that maybe don't have the internet, or they live a simpler life. They are fishermen or fisherwomen, and people who live in villages, and they're family oriented, and these are different cultures that are based on connection, they're based on community, and they're based on presence. They sit around, again, this goes back to the ancient, I keep mentioning the ancient knowledge. This is nothing new what we're experiencing. This is something that's been with us for much longer than we've been on the earth. Something that we're uncovering. So yeah, be okay with your life, be okay with who you are, be okay with what you are, to elaborate on your point, Michael. And you can achieve enlightenment doing the simplest of things, just as long as you're fully in the moment.
Right.
I like that. Very cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
We got plenty of future Paradigm Shift radios to continue to talking about this. Right now, just going to be able to help steer this so that we can get a couple more callers onto the air, and we'll still have you guys on, and we'll be able to bring on Paul and It's Love at the end of the show. But right now, just focusing to be able to bring on a couple more callers. So we're going to bring on a caller from area code 647 for just letting you guys know, we're just going to keep it fairly concise, and then caller from area code 727, and then after that, we're going to bring on my good buddy Joe. This is Joe Hatum. Those of you who know him know that he's the man behind Spacelight, and I think he's going to bring some different angles to some of the stuff we've been talking about here on Paradigm Shift Radio, which is good. It's good. We need to be able to have our ideas challenged in some ways, but we'll see where Joe takes it once we get there. Stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we're going to bring on caller from area code 647. So caller from area code 647, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Hello, caller. Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Well, caller, welcome to Paradigm Shift Radio. And is this Zell? Is this Chris?
No, my name is James Roberts.
Okay.
I'm calling from Toronto, Canada.
Sorry, say that again. Where are you calling from? And yes, what would you like to bring to the show?
Oh, I'm calling from Toronto, Canada. I just wanted to talk on beingness and the authentic self. So, a lot of people have been talking about, being in the moment, being in the now. In my experience, it's not necessarily knowledge. It's, what I know to be true is that when I'm my authentic self in any moment that I'm experiencing, when I literally tune down and silence the inner chatter that we can have in our mind, I find that it allows me to be able to appreciate each moment and the time that I spend with people more vibrantly. We all have those experiences where when we're talking with people, or we're listening to a radio show like this, that our mind can distract us with fears, anxieties, and worrying about the day of tomorrow. Taking that moment to acknowledge that it's there, but to silence it, to choose to be your authentic self in a moment, and allow for all of your responses to be true responses, not just reactions. That we can choose to be, a characterized moment, an emotion. We can be sad, we can be angry, we can be love, we can be compassion, but we get to choose in every moment what we are going to be. And by just allowing whatever emotion is there to feel it, but not necessarily react to it, but choose to let it sit, and then you can choose who you want to be and how you want to respond, which may not always be what you're feeling. You have the choice in every moment to be able to change within yourself who you want to be, and then that comes from within you outwardly and is shown to others exactly as you intend to, as you want to bring to the moment. Everyone's talking about, fear and the dark side. Sometimes we do have to be what we're not to really be what we truly are. But we get to choose how long the not being transpires. It can be for days. It could be for an instant moment where we can just shift ourselves from consciously knowing what we're feeling to being what we want to be and how that wants to be expressed. So, being your authentic self, quieting yourself to be exactly as you're supposed to be, and love and accept that, and love and accept how other people are being, and understanding why and what their perspective is key. That's really what I want to bring to the table.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Like that was really well spoken. Thank you so much. Sorry, you said your name John Robert. What was it? Your name?
James Roberts.
James Roberts. Perfect. Cool, man. Well, that's awesome that you're in Toronto and stuff too. You haven't hooked up with our buddy Alon by chance, have you?
No.
No? Okay, cool. All right. Well, definitely, if you're in the live chat, maybe you can just post your Facebook profile there, and for the other callers who are on the show, we'll get their information added to the YouTube version of the show, which will be up in the future. So we're just going to have to keep things sort of like moving along, but was there anything else that you want to add onto that, James? I mean, I think you sort of ended it quite nicely, but if there's anything else, feel free.
Just adding to what everyone else is saying about being the change, be the change. And, all of us here are working together to promote wellness, to promote self-love, loving others, expanding to have real communities again. And I'm just happy to be a part of that conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. And have you added me on Facebook yet?
No, but I will.
Awesome. Yeah. So for yourself and anyone else, you can feel free to just add me at facebook.com/SkullBabylon. But yeah, no, just looking to keep in touch with that. I definitely, very, very well spoken. Thank you again, man. So we'll keep you just in the queue as well, and we'll bring on, we'll keep you in the call as well, and we'll bring on our next caller from area code 727. And after that, we'll be able to bring on our buddy Joe. And then if we got time left, we do have a couple other callers, so we'll get to that when we get to that. So caller from area code 727. We're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go.
Cool. Hello. Happy to be here.
Hello, mysterious caller. Who are you, and what would you like to bring to the show?
Hi. I'd like to bring to the show a thought, and then another thought. And the first thought is, in this world where there's a lot of things going on and a lot of change in nature, one thing you can always do is cover your own. And you can always watch your own and guide your own actions and your own impacts on the world around you, and be as conscious as you can in doing that and in what you stand for. And so even though there might be things that other people are doing that you don't have control over, that you feel are wrong, you can always direct yourself. And the second thought that I wanted to bring to the table is wilderness and why it's so important, because throughout most of human history, the most powerful thing outside of, the wilderness itself was, a person and their own wits. And a strong person could be a warrior and could get around and travel around by their own wits across the landscape. And as long as they could hold their own, they could pretty much do okay. But now that we have society and technology the way it is, it's really bringing us together in a way that forces us to cooperate with one another. We can't just run by our own wits and make it out there in the wilderness like a warrior might back in the day, because we're finding out, we're growing into our world, so to speak, and we're starting to fill out the pot, and we're sort of forcing ourselves to cooperate, and that's a great thing. And it also makes wilderness so valuable because that is where freedom lies, and that is where you can escape whatever situations or environments that we've built up for ourselves in our communities and societies, and just return to the basis of it all, where from which we spring, and that's wilderness, and that's why we need to protect these pristine places. And there you have it, folks.
Awesome. Just passing the thing back to James. James, was there anything you want to just respond with, just based on that? Just add on to even?
Yeah, the bit about freedom is that, we are free in every moment. And, when we go throughout our lives, reminding ourselves that we really are free inside, free to choose, free to be, and free to be happy, free to show others that they really are free. We go to our jobs, when we go about our day, sometimes so preoccupied that we think that, the struggles that we deal with are shackles, and that we're bound to certain paradigms, which is a part of what we're trying to do, is the paradigm shift. And that just reminding yourself that you are free. You're free within, and when you're free within and you go from that the world will change, and that the world you will see will change, and others will see the change in you, and then it's just a domino effect. So remember how much freedom you really do have, despite the fact that the illusion might be that it's not there.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, James, and thank you, mysterious caller who may or may not be
Sure.
airing.
May I say one more thing before I go?
Sure. We'll say
right,
whatever you need to, and
quick.
then we'll bring Joe on.
Crunch.
Go ahead. You got time.
So now with these wilderness frontier zones disappearing and all of these ancient indigenous cultures, we're losing a lot of ancient knowledge, and it is very important to protect this knowledge that has been developing in its own way for so long, and it's really becoming into isolated pockets, and it's disappearing very quickly, and so it's so important to protect.
Absolutely. Cool, man. All right. Well, thank you for that additional addition, and we'll keep you guys in the queue. We'll bring our buddy Joe. Joe may have some response to that or just anything else, but actually James sort of set up a nice segue when we were talking about freedom. Joe's taught me a lot just about what freedom is and just different ways that we can sort of achieve it and tap into it within our lives and just different ways to perceive it. So, Joe, presuming things are technically all okay, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio, and we'll go from there. So, Joe, if you're ready, bring you on now, and hello, Joe, reporting in. Joe, can you hear me?
Greetings.
Hello. Hey, man.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, man, good. We got about 11:11 left on the clock for the episode, so just passing it.
It's been a long time, guys. It's been a long time.
I will just so just a quick introduction. Those of you who haven't seen, there's a full-length movie that I put up in the past that coincidentally is actually blocked on YouTube now, and that's A Journey to the West, and that's the story about me and Joe and our adventures out there in Spacelight, which he may be able to inform you about real quick. But other than that, you can check out www.spacelight.info, and that's something that definitely helps people enable their freedom and has I think that's valuable knowledge in itself. But Joe, just passing the talking stick over to you. What do you want to tell the world right now? What knowledge can you pass on?
Well, you guys seem to be pretty interested in crystal energy and healing, and that stuff's kind of right up my alley, actually. But I primarily only use certain crystals, specifically minerals that you can put into your water and ingest, and because water is actually a crystal. It freezes, and you can see the patterns of it. It's a liquid crystal. We're made of all types of materials, rocks, glass, and ice, fire. It's all in us. I got a really good testimonial the other morning from someone.
Joe, I was just going to say, Joe, if you can try moving your mic, maybe just do that. We're getting some weird feedback from your end. Yeah, that fixes it. Yeah, you're okay. You're good. Yeah. That's way better. Go ahead.
I got an awesome testimonial yesterday from someone in Maryland.
It's okay. It's getting fuzzy again, just so you know. So I don't know if that's telling you what the pattern is.
Yeah, I got a cheesy computer and some cheap headphones.
All right. Well, we'll make do, man. But
I'm on a budget, bro. Tight budget. Ahead. This ain't Hollywood, yo.
No.
So, anyways, this testimonial I got, it just like revived part of me. You guys got to see it. We should
testimonial
actually
get for Spacelight, right?
I'd like to get Annabelle and James on the show if that's possible, because it wouldn't be possible without them. Like James Ortiz, he ordered Spacelight off my website, LITE, simple spelling, right? Light. And he was the first person in the USA to have the new upgraded pink formula, the pink version. And what it does is it has a oxygen-carrying mineral added to regular Spacelight that enhances the antimicrobial properties. So what it'll do is actually, one, you can tell when Spacelight's in your water. Two, the pink will fade away when the oxygen goes out of it, so you can tell when your water is stale. And it will kill bacteria in the water, like way better than regular Spacelight. It'll kill E. coli, so in case you're camping and if you filter your water but you want to add it. Anyways, this guy James, he had somebody on his Facebook, I guess, a woman who had some type of brain cancer, right? And he sent her $20 worth of Spacelight for free, and she tried it out, and in 3 days, she said it got rid of all her pain. Basically, she said no pain. And things like that. You know, I was just running down the stairs the other night, and I was totally wasted on vodka. I was at the beach all day drinking, right? I had my skateboard in one hand. I had a bacon pan full of chicken in the other hand. And I was hammered, and I slipped, and I smashed my nose with my skateboard. And now my nose looks like a beak. And I know, it's ridiculous. It's redonkulous. And then, not only that, the same night, I lost my ID. So I couldn't even get in any clubs. And it was the biggest party night of the whole year. Everyone's been waiting for this weekend in Kelowna here. It's called Center of Gravity. And I didn't have enough money to go. I didn't have enough to get a ticket. So also this month my cell phone got stolen by an acquaintance that I trusted, and I should not have trusted them. So all month I've been without a cell phone. It's cut off a lot of the way that I make money. Smashed myself in my face, which is ironic because it wasn't while I was skateboarding. I skateboard through traffic, and I've always been fine, and I'm a daredevil. And to hurt myself when I'm walking, you know, it's like so ironic, right? So, but then I was feeling kind of down, right, because I couldn't get in any clubs or anything, and I got left out of the weekend, and everyone's having fun except for me, and kind of broke too. I still have to make some more money for rent before the end of the month, so I've kind of just been eating, you know, just at nighttime and not really much for breakfast. And then I got this testimonial that this guy that bought Spacelight gave it away, shared it, and it helped somebody probably live longer, and it also just helped their quality of life while they're not like alive now. It stopped the woman's pain from headaches. She said cluster headaches, and she says nothing has worked so well. So cheers to the crystal energy and the healing, because that stuff makes me happy. Like when I woke up in the morning and I saw that, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like I haven't even been able to answer my phone for a month, and people are networking there and sharing it with their friends and getting good results, like real life experiences here. So
yeah, Joe, can you actually, because I mean I think some people like they literally do need to hear it more than once, but can you actually just sort of like give us a short form summary of what Spacelight is, and just reminding people that like this is like, I mean I could explain it myself. I mean like even my testimonial, like again, like in themes with the show of like things that we know that are worth sharing, like Spacelight is without a doubt something that I want all of my friends to know about. And I don't always talk about it because I don't want you guys to think that I'm like constantly trying to push it, but when the time's right, I want to be able to inform more people. And Spacelight is basically one of the best ways Joe's explained it to me is that it's like Gatorade, but without all the sugar crap, and it's just like a powder mineral, which is the crystals, which Joe's talking about, that you can pour in the water, and then like through the fact that it's just like electrolytes and just being able to like bring more potassium into your body, it helps with muscle joints, it gives you better endurance, better muscle development. My testimonial is tonight, like in soccer, we were short players. We didn't even have enough guys on our field, and I was playing up on forward by myself the entire game, and I ran the entire game, and at the end of the game, like, I still felt like good. Like, I still felt like I could have played like a whole nother game almost, opposed to having my joints like being super sore and everything like that. So I mean, I use Spacelight. I've been using it for a while. I'm fortunate enough to have it, and yeah, Joe's an awesome guy for being able to like crack the matrix and being able to hack the code to be able to figure out how to be able to get Spacelight so we can share it with you. But yeah, we only got like less than 4 minutes in the show, and we're still going to do a draw for the shift buttons, and I want to be able to bring people on just in the last minute to say their goodbyes. But Joe, can you just anything else that you just want to like tell people that they should know about Spacelight, or just anything else?
Well, okay, you just made me think of something. It's like, because for me, I used to be a hippie. Like, I used to be a hardcore hippie. I used to have cornrows, long braided cornrow hair, Rastafarian. All my clothes are made out of hemp. You know, eating organic, everything. Like, I was even a vegetarian for a while, and you know, just looking for answers in life. And I found the answer because I studied chemistry obsessively since I was a kid, right? So I cross-referenced the nutrients that we need, and where do we get it from, and I sought out the purest forms of it, and that's how I developed Spacelight. Is that it's basically the crystals that the plants are trying to absorb out of the soil, but if the soil is depleted from minerals, or if there's acid in the rain or anything like that, it obstructs the ability for our bodies to acquire these nutrients. So what I'm really getting at here is that I'm pretty surprised at how hippies, and I'm using that word loosely, but all these new age metaphysical people, conscious enlightenment driven people, I think that it's perfect for everyone because it's something that you can share. It's like a crystal that you can give to someone, and they can put it on their shelf and they can save it for a year, or they could put it in their water, or they could give it to somebody that needs it. And it's pure white powder minerals, and I mean, that's all I do now. I don't carry rocks in my pocket. I've traded some of this stuff for a meteorite. I thought that was pretty cool, but I don't collect very many ornaments. I'm not into shrines. I don't pray. I'm not religious. I'm all about science and chemistry. And I think chemistry is magical because and it's like electricity, right? Now, electricity is everywhere in the universe. It's all invisible, but it's all around us. And so when people are talking about vibration and things like that, it's actually electricity, the electromagnetic vibrations. The background of space is a giant magnet, and so the movement of the background field is electric waves and electric movement, and that's like the vibrations and all that stuff, right? But
cool. Yeah, Joe, we only got 60 seconds left in the show, so we'll definitely be able to save some for another time. And
thanks.
Yeah.
You got my wheels turning. I'm tripping out.
Oh man, we'll spend an entire another episode just having you on, because I know there's a lot more to talk about. But with the button draw, thank you to Cosmic Love, who was able to donate for this week to be able to support the free buttons. And I did the draw while Joe was talking, and this week's winner is Amanda Lua. So I'm going to send a message to her. So congratulations, Amanda. Woo! Yeah. And with only 40 seconds left in the show, I'm just going to bring on everybody who's been on the show up to this point, including Michael Brazel and Paul and everyone. So with only 30 seconds left in the show, of course, just thanking everybody so much for being a part of this show, and reminding you that you can go back, find this episode and more episodes through the main website, ParadigmShiftCentral.com. And yeah, awesome stuff. Thank you so much. So everybody join me in saying farewell to Internet. And of course, the after party hangout will be on at Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. Keep your eye open for that.
We love you from above beyond
playing.
Center.
There we go. All right, say goodbye to the Internet, everyone.
Bye, Internet.
Bye. Should be static. Oh man. That was Joe playing music.
Sorry, I'm obsessed with psychedelic trance.
Yeah. All right.
Thought maybe you guys would like it.
Thanks again, everyone. Thanks.
Progressive trance.
Intelligent. Thank you for listening to another episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. If you would like to connect with people where you are and continue the conversations further, then check out ParadigmShiftCentral.com/buttons to order your supply of shift buttons to share with people to help invite them to this global project while also helping make new friends and building local community where you are. Shift buttons are tools to hack the matrix and tap into the synchronistic nature of reality to accelerate our collective awakening. Enter the promo code PSR into your order to receive additional bonus buttons to your supply. Thank you again, and one love.